Good evening and welcome to our crafting session this evening. My name's Jenny McCormack and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator based in the market town of Brackley, and that is in Northamptonshire in the UK. Thank you for joining me this evening. If you have come across me for the first time, then hi and welcome. And if you're watching live, do say hi and let me know that you're here. If you're watching on catch up or replay, whether that is on Facebook or YouTube, then don't hesitate to add any comments or ask any questions if you have any queries on what we've achieved. So today I'm going to do a brand new technique which I've seen done on YouTube, but I've never actually tried myself. So could be interesting. It is called, what is it called? The carved wood technique. And typically you use a piece of vanilla or ivory or cream card as a base. We're going to ink it up and we're going to emboss it. So this is part of my technique week for using your embossing folders to get more use out of them, basically. So I am actually going to be using this one, I think, because I want a nice detail for the wood effect. So fingers crossed it will work. I have cut a few pieces of card just in case it doesn't work the way I'm hoping. We will find out in due course. So let's give this a go. So the inks I've got to start with are Sahara Sand and Soft Suede. I may go darker. I might add in a little bit of green, for example mint macaron. We'll see how we go. I've got a crumb cake card base. I haven't used crumb cake and vanilla for ages, so looking forward to doing that. So I've just scored this at 10.5. This is half an A4 sheet, so this measures 14.85, and I seem to have lost, there it is, it's buried, my bone folder. So that's going to go there on the side. I've got a slightly larger piece. I might switch that to a darker piece, I'm not quite sure, because this is going to be covered in ink. So I'm just going to wait and see how this pans out. So I've got 3 pieces. Not saying that it's not going to go well, but let's be prepared, hey. Hi Julia, thanks for joining us. I don't know if you've tried the carved wood technique, but let's give it a go. So I've cut this to 9 centimetres, only because I'm going to score this every centimetre. And so I want it nice and even. So I'm just going to move this along to 1 centimetre, move my cutting blade out of the way and just score this. So I'm going to move it across to 2 and 3, like so. Perfect. And now I've got that, I can carry on this way round. 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now I might find this is too close together and that I'd be better off with 1.5 centimetres or half an inch, but I'll give it a go. Hi Jeanette. So we've got those scored across there. That's our starting point. And then we're going to swipe this with some ink. So I am going to grab a spare piece of grid paper, like so. And we're using the direct ink to card technique. Just going to take the ink pad, and I like to take the side that's got the shortest edge at the top and drag this along our card, and I'm going to turn it round both ways so that I get the same effect as that one. And here, now if you've got a very inky ink pad, just be careful. Mine is actually very light, so I'm actually going to flatten my ink pad a little bit more. Okay, and I want some more on this edge here. Okay, so I'm just going to lift this up. Hopefully you can see that detail on there. I might need to go darker. Let's see. You want to start off the top. Okay, and here. Oops. Right, so that's Sahara Sand, which is, excuse me, a light brown ink. I might just try. Just want to see. Okay, it's not too bad. Just adding a little bit of this crumb cake, no, Soft Suede, which has an almost green tinge to it. So there we want the look of the planks of wood. Hopefully you can see that in the light. Okay, what we're now going to do is pop this through the embossing folder to create the design of the carving. And I need to now find that embossing folder I showed you. Here it is. Okay, and normally you would put it in this way, but I believe I'm going to put it in the other way up because I want it to be indented. Now this could be a complete mistake. We will see. So I'm going to run this through the embossing folder, see what we have, and then we're going to apply some darker ink over this whole piece. So bear with me 1 minute. So I've got my embossed piece, which I've run both ways. I've run it through twice, forwards and back, and so this has given me a raised image. So theoretically, as I add the ink to the front of this, the top raised element will get covered in ink and the detail underneath will be lighter to make it look like it's been carved. Let us see if that actually works. As I say, I've never tried this, so oh, it does work. A bit experimental. Okay, so there we go. And the good thing about it is, because it's designed to look like carved wood, it doesn't matter if it's, in my mind, it doesn't matter if it's not exact, and you know, I've got a little bit more ink on one side, for example, than the other. Okay, let me lift that up to the screen so that you can see it. I hope we're still live. Okay, so there is the effect of carved wood. So we've got the wood panels to start with. They're not particularly deep, so maybe if I did that again I would either have a bigger gap. Maybe I would try it 1 centimetre gaps. That might work. So I might just try that, see what it looks like. But it really does work. It really does look like it's been carved out. Okay, I am going to try it one more. So the secret definitely is to make sure you turn your paper over from the normal side of the embossing folder. And I might try one with some greens or something, so it looks a bit like you know, the wood's been there a while and gone yes, I can't think of the word. Right, I'm going to try, oh, did I did 1 centimetre, didn't I? Yes, so let's try I'm going to try 1.5. I know it's not going to work exactly, but, and I'm going to make this a bit, add a bit more pressure on this as well, so it's a little bit deeper here. So 1.5 and 3. It's just got me going on there. Sorry if that's bumping the camera slightly. So I've just made more of an indent on this one. Okay, and then 4.5. Like so. 6. 7.5. And then that will work perfectly, almost as if I'd measured it and realised. Hi Brenda. So, hi Vivian. So I've done a little bit more, added a bit more pressure on my panels here. So you can see this on the back. And then this was the one I did earlier. And obviously it's gone through the embossing folder, so it has taken out some of that detail. But that was the effect from earlier, the wood carving. So let's do this. So I'm going to use Soft Suede for my base. So I'm just taking this, well, I did end up using Soft Suede really because the other one was really light. So just going to coat my panel like so, and the same here. And I do like the effect that you've got, because it's not the same. I know what I mean. It's not the same all the way over. And I'm actually going to use, I think, a little bit of blending brush, top and bottom. Now some of this will, I don't know how much of this will transfer, because this is actually going to be the lower layer, but I just thought I'd give it a go. So this is Soft Suede that I'm using here. So I hope you'll give this a go if you haven't tried it. Jeanette, I wondered if you might have done this technique, sort of thing you might have done at card class over time. Okay, so I've got a darker edge, and I think I'm going to do that all the way around. And it really does look like, you know, some planks of wood, although it's got no wood detail in it, no knots or anything. And I did wonder if you could use the embossing folder that has a wood grain, but of course it will be flattened out. with the other embossing folder, so I don't think it would work quite as well. Oh, years ago. Okay, well, that's good enough. I hope you'll revisit it in that case. Okay, so I've applied some ink onto this. Just going to add a bit more on this side. So then this goes back through an embossing folder, but it goes face down. Doesn't go the normal way because you want the raised element at the top. So this would be the normal way with the Stampin' Up logo on the front, the black logo, this one here. So I'm going to put it in upside down like so, and obviously it doesn't matter which way you put this through the embossing machine. Just going to do that. So just run that forwards and backwards, like so, and I've got a little bit of mint macaron, and I might use a little bit of Early Espresso, and you just need to grab that from my bag. Okay, so I'm going to use the lighter one first. Now obviously if this is really wet, you want to make sure that you let that dry before you swipe your next ink pad over it. Otherwise you might transfer some of the ink onto your lighter ink pad. So this is the one I did earlier on. Let's just give this a go. I'm going to take my glasses off. So I've got some wider planks this time round, and so this is mint macaron, so a light green, like so. I don't know if you can see that or not really. And then I'm going to add some Early Espresso. I could use Evening Evergreen as well. Let's see what this looks like. This may cover up what I've just done. Wow. Just be careful you're not getting yourself too covered in ink. There we go. Look at that. And you can obviously carry on building that up. So let me lift that up so you can see that. How about that? That's fabulous, isn't it? So this is using the fancy flowers because I thought it would look like something that you'd carved. But have a look through your embossing folders and see what you could use that would get the effect that you need. I think I'm going to add, because this now looks really sort of yellow in comparison, I'm going to add, I wonder if I might try some Evening Evergreen. Got nothing to lose. There we go. Worked equally as well. Hi Babsy. So we've got this one here. That's Evening Evergreen over Soft Suede. Hopefully you can see that. Let me know if you can see the detail. And then this is Early Espresso over Soft Suede. So I do like those. That's really effective. Now, before I do anything with them, I'm actually going to photograph these because I want to remind myself what they look like. So bear with me 1 second while I just photograph them. Let's just do that. And then it means that I can make a note of that. And what I tend to do is I tend to just edit the photo on my phone and just put in the colours, for example, that I've used, just scribble them on there or just type them. So let's make at least one of them into a card. Let's do this one. And I think you could go really dark with this if you wish. So I've cut it so I've got a fair amount of border, and I think you could take this onto dark card as well if you really wanted to. This will look quite nice on Evening Evergreen card. I have some, I might have a piece here. Yes, it is. Okay, so I'm going to map that one up as well. So Babsy, I wonder if you've done this technique. I'm sure you probably have in the same way, and if not, it'd be a great one for your ladies at class. So if anybody lives Milton Keynes area, north of Milton Keynes, Babsy, who's watching, does card making classes there. Actually, Dean's Hanger area. So I'm just going to pop this central on here, and I really don't want to cover too much of this up, so I'm going to pop this straight onto here and then just find a small piece that I can use for a sentiment. I want to cut it out of vanilla, and I used to have a whole pack of vanilla sentiment pieces, die cuts, and of course I don't know what I've done with them. I've got some here, but they're not die cut, they're just strips. But I think this would make a great card for a man, especially somebody who, you know, maybe this would be really nice with the leaves. If you've got the falling leaves, or we did have another embossing folder that had leaves on, that would be really effective with that as well, wouldn't it? If you think that's too floral. The other one it might work with is the Twigs and Sprigs one, which has just got small items on it. Okay, I'm just turning this over to wipe it down. Okay, and then I'm just going to think about my sentiment. I'm just going to mount this one up while I'm waiting. This is rather nice on that Evening Evergreen. I wonder if this might work as a layer to save me cutting anything else. Or I'll reverse that, maybe. Does that look better on Evening Evergreen and then crumb cake? Or crumb cake on Evening Evergreen? What do you think? That's crumb cake on Evening Evergreen. Sort of separates it out. Maybe that's a little bit better. Let me know what you think. Now I'm just trying to think of what I'm going to put on here. Normally I might go for a circular die cut, just with a simple sentiment. Hi Lynn, thanks for joining us. Let's see. I've got my stylish shape. So I have got the square, or I've got the circular ones. Hi Laura, thank you. So the first time, and it worked. It paid off. Okay, that's way too big. Let's go down. So I think just a single layer like that would do the job. Oh yeah, it's really easy to do, Lynn, but you can watch the recap. So I took a piece of vanilla, scored it at 1.5 centimetre intervals, and then ran the soft suede ink along it, and then you put that into your embossing folder, but you want to turn it over so that it pushes up from the bottom, and then when that's done you run your darker ink over the top. So yeah, do pop back to the replay. I think I'm just going to cut some vanilla out with this, and thank you, Lynn. Just going to put out a couple of those. Just to finish it off. I don't think it needs anything in detail because I want the background to do the work. So great for a man's card, I think. And you could use a fun embossing folder. It doesn't have to be floral, so as I say, it could be leaves, it could be a pattern. Anything you've got, I think, is the answer to that. Okay, so on this one I did add a little bit more ink at the top and the bottom, so that does actually show underneath a little bit, not a great deal. So I think this is just going to be that. And do we think crumb cake onto Evening Evergreen? I think so. Is the answer to that. And so Lynn has joined us. Lynn is one of my team. She's based in Banbury, so if you're in the Banbury area looking for card making classes, Lynn is your go-to person. Babs is your go-to person on the north side of Milton Keynes, so we are covering our bases. Right, this should be about 10 by 14.35. So this just happened to be an offcut of crumb cake, which has done the job nicely. Yes, that's it. So those are going to be my layers, and then I'm just going to stamp a simple sentiment on the top. And I will finish it off by decorating the inside, but I just want to do these quickly. I did wonder if that should go lighter, actually, to make it stand out. Yeah, perhaps it does, after all that. So much for having my piece of crumb cake to hand. Right, let's just cut this one down. So this is going to be 10 centimetres by 14.35. Okay. So just going to layer that onto there. So just make sure that if you have got very new or refilled inks, that you allow it to dry before you manipulate it too much. Otherwise your hands will get covered in ink and then that will go everywhere, if you're me. So I'm going to centralise this on here, hopefully. And I made this width 9 centimetres. Just so that I could get even 0.5 centimetres or 1 centimetre, and then this is 1.5. And I think I could have still made this deeper. I don't know whether you could go back in and add it afterwards. I don't think it'd be quite as effective. Hi Moretta. So just adding some glue to the reverse. Thank you, Brenda. So it's because I was just looking for new embossing folder techniques, which is what we've been doing. Now I've still got loads of techniques, so what I will do is another session of embossing folder techniques in the future. I won't do it straight away because I'm sure you've had enough of embossing folder techniques. So I'm going to use Evening Evergreen for this one, Early Espresso for this one, and what have I got here? That says wishes for a beautiful birthday, which might be a little bit too, might be too feminine for that. Let's see what else I've got to hand without making you wait too long. I think this happy birthday might be too big. Yes. Okay, let's celebrate you would fit, but that looks a bit sparse. So apologies. Here. So I think this would work for a sympathy card. So I am going to make a sympathy card. And to do that, I think I'm going to make this one sympathy card. So I'm going to use this one, and I might just use happy birthday for the other one. You can see this is very well used. One of my go-to stamp sets, Peaceful Moments. It's still in the current annual catalogue. So just add this. So I've got With Deepest Sympathy. Going to do that in Early Espresso. No worries, thank you. Have a great weekend, Jeanette. And just to let people know, especially Jeanette before she goes, I won't be online in the early part of next week. I'm going into hospital early Monday morning for a complete hip replacement. And so I should be out on Tuesday, but I don't think I'll be up to doing anything online, so I will keep you posted, and then I'll pop up online in due course during the week. So if you're looking for me next week, I will put a post on Facebook. I don't particularly like to, you know, shout about it. There's always the chance that it gets cancelled, of course, but just to let you know. So I am planning a December class in a box, so watch out for that coming out, which I'm very excited about. Okay, so just going to put that there. So that one, hopefully you can see that okay. Sympathy one, and then I really want a bigger birthday. Let me just see what I can find. Oh, that's too big. Ah, maybe I'll just make that a hello. This one here. Right. There we go. And then we're done. So, sorry it's run on a little bit longer than normal. Okay. So this is hello. I'm going to stamp this in Evening Evergreen. Hi Annette, thank you so much. I've never done this technique. I've done ink to card and, you know, colouring it and stuff like that, but I've never done this technique. And like so many of them, as you say, an oldie but goodie. So this, I'm just going to use hello on there. Actually, that one might redo my other one, take it off the sympathy card and do it as hello, because that's nice, and I quite like that, nice and bold. And obviously depending on your design, this would work either way, portrait or landscape, just depends on your embossing folder. I think this would definitely work both ways. And you could put it at the top if you preferred. I quite like it in there. Pop that on with dimensionals and we're all done. So if you're on my email list, you will have received an email about our discounted items. So we have a retiring list from the Christmas catalogue that's now live. So anything you order online that's discounted will come up automatically with the discounted price. We also have an update to the clearance rack, so there's items on there from previous catalogues that have been cleared and discounted. Is that straight? I was looking at the text there, the stamp. There we go, that's better. So there we have it. Thank you, Laura. So thanks everybody for joining me today. There's my 2 carved wood techniques. So do give this a go if you have the opportunity. Play around with the colours. It doesn't have to be browns. I've done this one in greens. You could also do blues, like it was painted wood, for example. So I hope you do give it a go. It's first one for me, and I will definitely be doing this one again. So thank you for joining me this evening. The sentiment, the first one came from Peaceful Moments, and the second one, gosh, I haven't used this for ages, Biggest Wish, a really useful set, nice big bold sentiments and some smaller italic ones as well. So thank you for joining me. As I say, I'll be absent in the early part of next week, and then when I'm home and able to sit down at the table, I will do some videos. I've got some new products that I'll be able to show you. I'll be able to start getting the new catalogues ready for sending to you. I've also got paper share coming up with the new catalogues. You can order that at the end of December, ready for the new year. So lots going on. Thank you for joining me this evening. I hope you have a great time. Let me just lift these up to the camera because I appreciate it's quite a way, but I can't lower it any further, otherwise you won't see anything that's going on. Thank you, Brenda, I appreciate that. So when your orders come, then I'll let you know, and they'll be popped for the local ladies. They'll be popped in the porch, and then luckily Royal Mail are doing a collection service up until the end of the year. So if I need to post your items to you that you've ordered, then the postman will collect them. So thank you so much. Have a great evening, and I look forward to crafting with you again soon. Thank you for your support. Any questions or queries, don't hesitate to leave a comment, message me, email me, WhatsApp me. Just make contact in the best way for yourself. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye for now.